you ever wondered if the Illuminati isn't just a wild conspiracy, but a real historical group whose secrets could still be influencing the shadows of power today? Stay tuned and we're going to dive into it. Welcome back to the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Ryan Slate, the CEO and co-founder of Command Your Brand. You can find me on X. I'm at Jeremy Ryan Slate over there as well. Also, if you want to get our new brand authority analysis, you can go to commandyourbrand.com/analysis and see how the right podcasts and media might be able to transform your brand. And today we are diving into the world of the Illuminati, the most notorious names in conspiracy lore. The Secrecy, Illuminati, fact or fiction, what we're covering today. And if you're like me, with a background where I've interviewed historians and conspiracy experts alike, in fact, we have an expert coming on in the Bermuda Triangle very soon, so stay tuned for that. You know that the Illuminati pops up everywhere, from music videos to political rants. But what's the real story behind this shadowy group? So picture this. In 1776, amid the Enlightenment's glow in Bavaria, a professor founds a secret society to challenge church and state, growing it to thousands before being crushed. Yet centuries later, it's blamed for everything, from world wars to celebrity hand signs. You know, look at some of those rappers out there in the videos we look at and say, what's Jay-Z doing now? So is it all fiction, or are there factual roots with conspiratorial branches? And here's why I find this fascinating. As someone who's always chased historical angles with a fun conspiratorial bend, the Illuminati blurs the line between Enlightenment ideals and modern myths. It often leaves me questioning who's really pulling society's strings. So today we're going to unpack it all and take a look at exactly what happened. We're going to look at sources like the BBC, History.com, and Britannica, and we're going to blend some plausible theories that will make you rethink the hype. We're going to balance it as much as possible because, hey, we like to stick to history and what can actually be proven, but explore some conspiracy. Then stick around because a recent 2020 study on AI debunks some theories and adds a bit of a twist. So if you're casually into history or conspiracies, this is for you. No secret handshake required, just curiosity. Let's uncover the truth. All right, to separate the Illuminati fact from fiction, we're going to go back to its verifiable roots in the Age of the Enlightenment, a time where reason challenged kings and clergy alike. The Bavarian Illuminati, often just called the Illuminati, was founded on May 1st, 1776 in Ingolstadt, a university town in the Electorate of Bavaria, part of modern-day Germany. And the founder was Adam Weishaupt, born in 1748 in Ingolstadt, a professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt, the only non-Jesuit in a Jesuit-run institution. Weishaupt was frustrated by religious dogma and political oppression. He started the group of the Perfectibilists before renaming it the Order of the Illuminati. He drew inspiration from Freemasonry, another secret society that was popular at that time, but also wanted more radical, free from what he saw as Masonic mysticism. Starting with just 5 members, mostly his students, the group aimed to promote rationalism, secularism, and a resistance to superstition and tyranny. This is an era of revolutions. The American Revolution kicked off in 1775, and the Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and Rousseau were shaking foundations of what people had looked at, right? People had looked at monarchy for a very long time, and they're finally looking at something different. So we have the American Revolution, which is going to hit off. We're going to have the French Revolution, which is not too far behind that, which is actually going to lead back to monarchy, funny enough. They give themselves Napoleon thinking they're getting a republic, and he brings himself right back to being a monarch. But anyway, Bavaria under Elector Karl Theodor was conservative Catholic, with the Jesuits wielding influence until their suppression in 1773 by Pope Clement XIV. Weishaupt's timing was perfect for recruiting intellectuals who were disillusioned with the status quo. By 1782, membership swelled to around 600. By 1782, membership swelled to around 600, thanks to figures like Baron Adolf von Kinga, a Freemason who joined in 1780 and helped to expand recruitment across Germany. And this is verified from Weishaupt's own writings and some Bavarian government documents as well, which were preserved in the archives like those at the Bavarian State Library. So as someone who's always debated secret societies, I see the Illuminati's birth as a bold Enlightenment experiment, challenging power in a bit of a risky time. But conspiratorially, was Weishaupt influenced by hidden networks beyond Freemasonry, like underground Republican groups plotting against monarchies? Because remember, this is the time period. It's a bit plausible given the era's web of Enlightenment salons, and this is noted in BBC Future article on early conspiracies. This origin story sets up the inner workings of the Illuminati. With the foundation laid, let's take a look at how the Illuminati operated. A structured secret society with goals that sound surprisingly a bit modern. The order had an hierarchical system divided into three main classes: novice, minerval, and illuminated minerval at the bottom. And this is where recruits learned the basics and swore secrecy. But a bit higher up, Freemasons inspired degrees like apprentice, fellow, and master. At the top, the Archipelagus, a council of superiors, which was led by Weishaupt himself. Per Britannica, members used pseudonyms. Weishaupt was Spartacus, Kinga was Philo, and communicated in code to avoid detection. So what about their goals? As outlined in Weishaupt's statutes, was to foster moral perfection, oppose religious and political tyranny, and to create a society based on reason. They advocated for free thought, education reform, and subtly influencing leaders through the infiltration of courts and universities. Its membership peaked at 2,000 to 3,000 by 1784, spanning Bavaria, Austria, and beyond. As for its notable members, Xavier von Tisfach, a diplomat who smuggled documents; Joachim Christoph Bode, who spread it to Weimar. I have to wonder, is it part of why Weimar ended up the way it did? Inflation! Even rumors disputed of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe joining briefly. So what about women? Well, they're excluded officially, but some sources suggest indirect involvement. And this is verified from seized documents in 1786 and 1787, published by the Bavarian government and analyzed in modern works like John Robeson's 1797 Proofs of a Conspiracy. So from my perspective, this structure was ingenious, a network for ideas in a censored age. But conspiratorially, did they embed agents in Freemason lodges to steer European politics towards revolution? Well, it's plausible, and Kinga's Masonic ties helped recruitment, per History.com. So comment below, if you could join a secret society like this, what Enlightenment idea would you foster? And frankly, it might really, if you want to join the Illuminati, make me have a bit of an opinion of you, because I think they are still at work today, but comment below. I'll say success breeds enemies, and the Illuminati's rapid growth drew the ire of Bavaria's rulers and the church. By 1784, internal rifts emerged. Kinga quit over disputes with Weishaupt, who was seen as too authoritarian. And rumors spread, accusations of atheism, sedition. In June 1784, Elector Karl Theodor issued an edict banning secret societies, including Freemasons and the Illuminati. Weishaupt fled Ingolstadt in February 1785 and was exiled to Regensburg, then Gotha. And raids followed in October 1786. Authorities searched von Schwach's home in Landshut, seizing documents and revealing plots to undermine religion and monarchy. More edicts in 1785 and 1787 outlawed the order with death penalties for memberships. By 1787, the Illuminati was disbanded, and Weishaupt lived in exile until 1830. However, there's no evidence that they survived as a real organization after that point. Personally, this swift end feels like a cautionary tale. Ideas threatening power get squashed, and ideas threatening power can often get perverted, so the people in them get more power. Conspiratorially, did the band drive them underground, infiltrating other groups like the Martianists? It's a bit speculative, but it's also echoed in other writings of the time. The Illuminati didn't die in 1787. It morphed into a myth, fueled by fear and fiction. Post-Suppression books like Augustin Burrell's 1797 memoirs, illustrating the history of Jacobinism, and John Robison's Proofs of Conspiracy, linked them to the French Revolution in 1789, claiming they orchestrated the guillotine chaos. These were tied to anti-Masonic hysteria, but may be true. The modern explosion? Well, the 1960s counterculture. Robert Anson Wilson and Carrie Thornley, inspired by LSD and Eastern philosophy, wrote fake letters to Playboy magazine about a fictional Illuminati controlling everything, birthing the New World Order, which I don't think is a trope. I do think there's something to it. Their Illuminatus trilogy in 1975 blended fact with satire, influencing Dan Brown's later novels. So what do you think about the survival of the Illuminati? Is it a historical remnant or a myth? Drop your comments below. I want to hear from you. Or do you have some other insight that we have not covered so far? I also want to hear about it. So fast forward to 2025, and studies like February's Science Arena article show AI chats reducing beliefs in Illuminati theories by 20%, proving facts can counter fiction. The BBC's Reel explores its pop culture regenesis from music to memes. The fact is that the group originally was real, but short-lived, promoting reason, not world domination, though there may still be evidence of that, and I think there's still something to look at in that as well. Because thinking that there's a group behind our politics that leads them to do a lot of the crazy things they do, well, I definitely think there's something to that. But conspiratorially, why the persistence? Well, maybe it's media sensationalism to keep the myth alive for profit, which is a bit plausible, but I do think there's something behind it and something more to look at. But here's why I'm hooked. In my experiences, the Illuminati shows how facts twist into legends, and sometimes can be dangerous when blurring reality. And I think one more thing I want to say about this is the intention of doing this video was just a history of the original Illuminati. We're going to look about it more in kind of modern theories in a later video. So for those of you that were disappointed, this is only part 1. Part 2 is coming. And we're going to look more in depth at modern theories of what's out there, because I do think there is something to the theories. And the fact that the group disappeared doesn't mean it ceased to exist. It just means that documentation ceased to exist. So I do think it's a story to continue following the pulse of. But thanks for watching and illuminating this episode with me. I'm Jeremy Ryan Slate, and this has been The Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, subscribe, and don't miss a future episode. Head over to jeremyryanslate.com for more history with a twist, which was recently upgraded, by the way. Fact, fiction, or something in between. What's your take on the Illuminati? Where do you think the modern world fits in? Because we're also looking for those threads for a future episode. Till next time, stay curious.